welcome to Dear Pop Culture Podcast. This is the podcast where we talk about pop culture that is dear to us. I am Gina Harms. I am the host of said podcast. Today there's no guest. It's just me again. Just chatting. The way that I said me again was very specific. That was a quote to a movie. That was Megan Fox in Confessions of a Teenage Drama Queen. After she wins Dance Dance Revolution, she goes, me again. Anyway, so that's, yep. I'm here to just chat about what's been going on. After recording last week's episode, I talked a little bit about watching Stranger Things. I'll let you in on a little secret. No time has passed since recording that episode. So I still haven't watched season 2 yet. But I've been really into it. I'm really excited to get that going. That's on the forefront of my mind. And the fact that everyone in the world is listening to Kate Bush, Running Up That Hill, which is a really great song that I guess is having a resurgence because of Stranger Things. And I actually don't know it that well. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I'm a huge Kate Bush. I know that. I know Wuthering Heights. And like I've seen a lot of people being like kids are just being like that's the song from Stranger Things, like that, don't they know she's a legend? And it's like, no, they don't. Like, I'm 31 and I barely know who she is, you know. She wasn't around when I was growing up, and then she wasn't like in the zeitgeist the way that like Madonna was, you know. And I was someone who actively sought out like 80s pop culture and music, and you know, I barely heard about her. So yeah, nobody knew about her, and so can't you just be happy that we know about her now? I get that a little bit. If it's like a song that you love that you think is like, you know, a classic, and then people are like, oh, that's the song from that show, and you're like, what? I don't know. Okay, so I just like really argued both points. Yeah, I don't know. It's just like, who cares? Like, if they're accessing pop culture in a different way, good for them. I'm sure there was songs that I heard for the first time from television or movies that I should have already known. You know what I mean? I can't think of any. I'm like, what's one? Like the Forever Young was on the OC. Was that Sonic Youth? I don't know. There's a few different versions of it on the OC. But anyway, wow. I've been listening to the OC recap podcast. It always feels weird on my podcast to talk about another podcast, but whatever. It's a celebrity podcast. And they just did the season 2 finale where Marissa shoots Trey, and they had Logan Marshall Green, who played Trey and who is now like a really successful actor in his own right, and like they had him on the podcast, which was really fun, and he talked about shooting that scene and how, you know, how that Imogen Heap song really follows him everywhere. What you say? He said that sometimes he'll be like in a bar and he like doesn't even realize like they're playing it. He said once he was out and someone sang karaoke to that song, which is so funny to me. That's hilarious karaoke song. I would have. It's so slow and sad. I'm dying to sing Imogen Heap at karaoke next time I go out. Oh my god. Yeah, so that was good to hear the behind the scenes from the OC, you know, one of my favorite shows of all time. Yeah, I talked a little bit about One Tree Hill on last week's episode too, because, you know, I've been listening to that recap podcast, but I've been rewatching season 3 of One Tree Hill again. it's really comforting to me. That's, it's The Office, I guess. Just season 3 of One Tree Hill specifically, though. But it's so funny because in that season, Peyton's like, she finds out she was adopted, and like her adopted mom had died when she was young, and she thought it was her real mom. And then this other lady comes up now that she's a teenager. It's like, hi, I'm actually your real mom. So she's going through this really fucked up thing, and her dad is like, you should talk to somebody, maybe go see a therapist. And she's like, yeah. And then at the end of the episode, she's in her room by herself, and she's speaking into a microphone, and she goes, my dad says I should talk to someone, so I'm talking to you guys. She starts a podcast. It's really funny. Also because it was 2004 and she starts a podcast. I didn't realize they had started that long ago. And yeah, they did, because they're named after the iPod. Fun fact. That's what a podcast was. But yeah, that's just crazy to me, because I didn't start listening to podcasts until early 2019 when I got a concussion and I couldn't watch television. Isn't that weird? I didn't listen to podcasts at all. You who are listening to this podcast right now are a huge fan of all podcasts. You've been listening to podcasts for years. Maybe. I don't know. It's a weird form of entertainment where it's not for everyone, and yet anyone can do it. Does that make sense? It's crazy. Everyone has one, and now all celebrities have them too. I was just talking about this on the last episode, how when there's no guest, I just feel like I'm rambling, and then like someone should have stopped me a while ago. That's how I just felt. I was like, what am I talking about? How many times have I said podcast? My brain is going nuts. Yeah. What else have I been doing this week? I'm trying to think. I've been listening to the new Sawyer. She's a fantastic pop singer. If you don't know, listen to her album from 2 years ago. It's really fantastic. She just put out another single called This Hell, and it's really good. I'm listening to that a ton. Yeah, but I just wanted to go through and maybe like go through my music library. Here's something. Like I'm trying to be better with money, and I got a notification on my phone being like, because I got AirPods like a while ago, and it was like, hey, remember, you get 6 months of Apple Music free with your AirPods. And I was like, maybe I should just get Apple Music and not pay for Spotify for 6 months, So I'm doing that. I'm transitioning out of Spotify again, because Apple Music is free. I'm going to use that. Do you know what I mean? And so I'm going to try it and see which one I like better. I used to have Apple Music, and I think I did like it better. I only got Spotify for like the Wrapped. Like at the end of the year, I wanted to have my top artists. And Apple Music didn't do that. But I think for everything else, I did like it better. So we'll see at the end of this 6 months free trial. But anyways, I'm trying to like, I have to go back and rebuild my Apple Music library, because my Spotify library is crazy. When you go through liked songs, I don't know if everyone does this. If you heart a song, you like a song. I have 3,522 songs on my liked songs. That's too many. I don't know what most of these are. Like, I know them a little bit, and I think it's like I'll like it as like, I'll remember to listen to that later because I liked it. But then every time it comes on shuffle, I just change it because I'm like, I just want to listen to something I know. But anyways, I want to go through I just want to put my music library on shuffle and just like talk about and just okay. I'm just gonna start. Okay, first one that comes up. The Thing About Love, Alicia Keys. Okay, this is from her album As I Am. This album reminds me of wintertime, driving in my brother's car in Kamloops in like 2010. When did it come out? This Alicia Keys album is the one that has No One on it. No one, no one. We listen to it a ton. I love this album. I listen to it like sometimes if I'm like in the bath. Like it's a very calming, beautiful album. This is a great song. The Thing About Love. It's like it reminds me of like a old standard, like an old Aretha Franklin. That's the thing about love. Anyway, so that's 2007 this album came out. Okay, maybe it was in high school. Yeah, that makes more sense actually, because that's my brother didn't live in Kamloops after high school. Yeah, 2007, Alicia Keys, As I Am. Really great album. There's a collaboration with John Mayer on here. Really, it's a good song. Lesson learned. John Mayer, he just weasels his way in. Like, he's a bad guy. He's a womanizer. But, man, is he talented. But he does good songs with women and, like, women he dates. He did the song with Katy Perry when they were together. Katy Perry, I was going to say she has a type, you know? But although she was married to Russell Brand, and that's its own type. But she was with John Mayer, and then now she's with Orlando Bloom, and I feel like those two look exactly the same. I mean, does she have a type? They're both just hot guys. Like, let's not judge her too harshly. She has a type. Insanely hot, successful man. But yeah. Okay, let's go to the next shuffle. See, I don't know what this is. Je te veux by Eric Satie and Giacomo Scinardo. This has got to be. Why is this in my liked songs? I do listen to instrumental music when I am writing or like trying to work on stuff sometimes, and this probably came up when I was like listening to a pianist. Okay, so there was this pianist. I play piano a little, and for a while I was trying to look at people who play piano on like TikTok, trying to get better. And so I came across this woman named Chloe Flower, who was amazing, and she played piano at the Grammys with Cardi B. I'm like, what Cardi B song has piano? I think it was Money. I think it was just the dun dun, but she was like, you know, you have to get a classically trained pianist to do that. I couldn't do it. But anyway, so Chloe Flower, she like put out her own originals, and I was listening to her piano music on Spotify, and then this probably came from that. And I was like, oh, this is a nice one. I'll like it. Anyway, I don't know. I'll like if I play more of it. Yeah. It's just piano. It's just pretty piano. Let's go to the next one. X Factor, Lauryn Hill. This is a great song. Actually, that I had like known, but I'll be honest, I never really listened to the whole album, The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill, even though everyone says it's like one of the best of all time. And like That Thing is like a really great song. But I just didn't go and listen to it. So I knew the song X Factor. I know I'd heard it. And then once Drake sampled it in Nice for What, and I was like, oh yeah, that song. And then I went back and listened to it a lot. I'm like, oh yeah, this is really good. Sometimes you just don't, you're like, I know it's good. You just don't think about it. But yeah, great song. Nice for What's a great song also. I mean, also the video is really funny. Well, not funny. I just like he has all these like successful women in it, like dancing. Like Olivia Wilde's in it for some reason. And yeah, that's a Lauryn Hill. I mean, I became a fan of hers when she was in Sister Act 2, obviously. That movie, I think that's a sequel. Is it better than the original? They're both so good. They're both, I can't pick. Sister Act and Sister Act 2, honestly, some of the best movies of all time. Whoopi Goldberg is so good. She does not get the credit she deserves. I mean, she's an EGOT winner. Why are... Maybe she does get the credit. You know, sometimes people say that. They'll like tweet something and be like, we don't talk about this enough. And it's just like, maybe you don't talk about it enough, but everyone I know talks about it all the time, you know? So maybe people are giving Whoopi Goldberg credit, but I don't know that they are. I feel like now that she's like hosting The View and it's just kind of like out there talking a lot, people are thinking of her as less of a performer. I don't know. We'll watch Sister Act. It's on Disney Plus. This is the first thing I watched when I got Disney Plus. I remember like looking through the library. I'm like, what do they have? Oh, this definitely. That's next for sure. Okay, I'm gonna just shuffle here. Al Green, here I am. Come and take me. This is Al Green's greatest hits. That's all that is. He's just one of those amazing classic singers. I put on his greatest hits album and just for any mood, it's good. I am gonna just address the doggy in the studio here. There's a bird out on the window and and he's kind of having a time. I just got distracted by it, but anyway. Yeah. So, should we do more of this? One more. My type, sweetie. This is a good song, but I'm like, what is that? Bump, 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 bump. That's a song that I know. Petey Pablo. I gotta look this up. I think it's a sample of a Petey Pablo song. My Type by Sweetie. Sample. Okay. Freak a Leak by Petey Pablo. Okay, so I like that song, I think. I think every time I listen to My Type, I'm like, but I actually want to listen to Freak a Leak. Which is like, wow, such a specific point in time when Petey Pablo was on the scene. Who I know because he was in the Sierra, who's featured in Goodies. Yeah, by Sierra. And, but yeah, that whole, like, that's when, like, that southern rap and, like, twerking became a thing. You know, the Yin Yang Twins. The Yin Yang Twins, Petey Pablo, they had all that Freak a Leak, twerking, the Whisper song. Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of that in, like, I don't know, like, when I hear a new song sampling an older song, I'm like, I just want to listen to the older song. Like, Big Energy, Lotto. I'm like, I listen to it, but every time I'm like, I wish I was listening to Fantasy. But also, that was a sample. Mariah Carey sampled that from the Tom Tom Club. I just recently looked this up. This is gonna sound like insane that I know this. The Tom Tom Club was like a, I think, husband and wife duo, and they did that song Genius of Love, but they were like two members of the Talking Heads, and so like they did a lot of like cool experimental music and like fun dance tracks outside of the Talking Heads. And so anyways, that song, that track is what Mariah Carey sampled in Fantasy, and that now Lotto sampled. But then she brought Mariah Carey in it for the remix, which is smart because old people like me are like, I just want to listen to the Mariah Carey version. Yeah. So, but anyways, yeah. Okay, that was fun. That was a fun little music moment. Shuffling the library. We'll do that more, I think, in the future. But I watch Everything Everywhere All the Time. Finally, it's fantastic, as everybody says. It's like funny. It's beautiful. It's emotional. You can cry like twice, and Michelle Yeoh is so good, and it really made me, like, inspired me as an artist, which is so I don't this is gonna sound bad. Like, it made me be like, oh, I just need to like write the worst possible show that I can think of. And that's not to say that this was like it's a good movie, it's great, but like I feel like the ideas of it, some of the things, like on paper, like if you describe what the movie's about, it's like this woman who owns a laundromat, and her marriage is kind of not great, and she's struggling with her business, and then there's like multiple or universes. You know, it's too hard to explain. It sounds insane, and there's so many elements to it that sound insane, but I'm just like, you just really have to write the dumbest thing you could think of, even if it's bad. Yeah. Anyway, that's a PSA for myself, though, just to be like, yeah, it doesn't matter. It's like the message of the movie, you know, kind of nothing matters, but not in a nothing matters, why should I try, more in a fun way. Nothing matters, why don't we try everything? Yeah. That's how I'm feeling right in this exact moment. Feeling good about it. It's been a few days since I've seen the movie, and I haven't written anything. But but I'm thinking about it, which is really, really important. Yeah. So if you haven't seen that movie, go see it. I think it's like it's still in theaters. It's like A24's highest grossing film that they've put out, which is cool. It's good for them. Oh, also there was a trailer for Marcel the Shell, the movie. That was like a YouTube video that Jenny Slate did, where it was like Marcel the Shell, this little kind of animated shell. Anyways, it's an A24 movie. It's very A24, but it's like, I don't know, it looks cute. I'll see it. I have to see more movies in theaters. I haven't seen Top Gun yet. Ugh, maybe I'll go tomorrow. I can't wait. And I've heard that it's so good. I like Top Gun, like the original, but man, there's a lot of jets. Like all of the scenes of them just flying for so long. It's like, oh, let's get to the story. So hopefully, I mean, I'm sure that they made it more thrilling, because I think that audiences don't have that long of attention spans anymore. Although, you never know. It's always in the third act of an action movie that my brain turns off a bit. You know, and like, I like them. Like, I've seen all the Fast and Furious movies, but it's always in that third act where the car chase is really long that I just find myself thinking of other things. And then I'm like, oh, what? They're in a space now? Spoiler for the last Fast and Furious movie. Anyway, so I think that's it. I think that's the end of the episode. Maybe I'm gonna go watch Top Gun. I hope you watch Top Gun as well. Yeah, that's what I hope for you. I don't care if you like it or not. I hope you watch Top Gun. And yeah, that's it. So, oh, well, I guess, you know, if you like the podcast, you could share it. You could leave us a nice review on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or wherever you do that. You can leave a comment. You can yeah, anyway, just tell your friends if you liked it. And that's it. That's all you can do. You can follow me on Instagram at Hina Jarms and follow the podcast. Okay. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time. Love you. Bye.